Nick Ferrari at breakfast on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
10 minutes before 8, whether it's the policy itself or the views of a football player turned commentator, seemed as well political commentator now. They have to say this idea, this policy that's being debated is very much front page news or top of the agenda. So grateful to Conservative MP and Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick, who joins me now to shed more light on it. And I wonder if you can reflect on a story on the front page of one of our newspapers this morning, Minister, The Guardian, saying that a United Nations agency has accused the government, of which you're a member, of, quotes, extinguishing the right to seek refugee protection in the United Kingdom. The UN is calling foul. How does the British government respond? Good morning.
Well, good morning, Nick. Well, look, firstly, we think this is a very important piece of legislation which is going to restore fairness to our asylum system and help us to get a grip on this crisis and stop the boats, which is what the British public want us to do. This is essentially a humanitarian response because we don't want to see people dying in the English Channel. We don't want to see some of the cruelest, most evil gangs perpetuating this trade any longer. And so I'm disappointed by the remarks of the United Nations, but we work closely with them. I spoke to Filippo Grande, the head of the UNHCR, only recently to explain what we're looking to do. We're not preventing people from claiming asylum, but we are saying that if you come here illegally on a small boat from a safe country like France, then other than in a small number of exceptional cases, you will be removed either back to your home country or to a safe third country like Rwanda, which is the only way in which we will break the cycle of those criminal gangs.
Minister, when you say the British public want us to do this, close quotes, how do you know?
Well, every person that I speak to time and again feel frustrated and angry that they see our borders being abused in this way and the generosity and compassion of the British public exploited. Because we are a generous country. You know, in the last 5 years, we've welcomed 450,000 people in on humanitarian visas from places like Ukraine, Afghanistan, Syria and Hong Kong. But we're also seeing a quadrupling in recent years of the number of people coming across on small boats at the behest of the criminal gangs. And that has to be stopped because it brings our borders and our asylum system into disrepute. And it places such immense strain on our asylum system.
But many people would say, and I appreciate, OK, everyone that you meet, that's what they're telling. I'm in a very different role. I talk to all sorts of people every day. Many people are saying this is not what Britain is all about. Someone makes their way to this country from Syria fearing persecution. The British sense of fair play is normally to say, right, make sure you're not a criminal. Your country, you're welcome to start a new life here. They would argue that slaps that in the face, Minister.
Well, respectfully, I disagree. Let me explain why. Firstly, we have been very generous and will continue to be to those people who are genuinely fleeing war and persecution and human rights abuses. But what we're going to do is do that in a targeted way. So we prioritise the finite resources of our country on those people who need it the most. And you can see that already in the actions we've taken in the last few years with the Hong Kong scheme, the Ukraine scheme, the Afghanistan and Syrian schemes. And we're going to continue doing that. In fact, the bill we brought forward this week makes abundantly clear that we're going to create a safe and legal route into the UK, but one which takes careful account of the true capacity of local authorities to support and care for those people. Where we draw the line, and I think this is a line drawn by most people in this country, is between that and those people who are breaking into the country against our rules on small boats and are doing so from safe countries like France. Because the people who are coming across on small boats are not families predominantly. They are young males who are fit and well, are able to pay people smugglers and are jumping the queue, meaning that we cannot support the people who are most in danger. And that really has to stop.
But, Minister, what will happen when judges in Strasbourg take against this proposed government policy?
Well, we are confident that the policy we brought forward is compatible with our international law obligations. It's certainly true that these are new, novel, creative solutions to a major crisis, you'd expect us to be thinking carefully and laterally about what legal solutions we can bring forwards, given the scale of the challenge. But I'm a lawyer, the Home Secretary is as well. We've given this careful thought. We've taken the best legal advice, and we believe that this is compatible with the law. And obviously, if it is legally challenged, we'll defend it robustly.
But I heard that some years ago, admittedly not from you, but I heard that a while ago about Rwanda, and that would be workable. But we know it's not. That's, I think, 11 months, it's nearly a year old. Not a single person has been taken to Rwanda. Why will the Strasbourg judges just not block this?
Well, firstly, with respect to Rwanda, remember that there were those who said that policy was illegal and not likely to be upheld by the courts. And it has been. But no one's gone, Minister. It's been, but this is an important point. It's been held up by the courts, or else we would have put people on planes. But so far, the courts have upheld it as a legal policy.
But to my
the Court
point,
of
no
Appeal
one has been
is
sent
currently
there.
about to hear it, and I hope that they will agree. Look, with respect to Strasbourg, we want to meet our international law obligations. We believe we can remain within the European Convention on Human Rights and tackle this crisis. But we have had discussions with them where we've said that this does need to be handled in an appropriate manner. And it isn't, as a matter of natural justice, right that unnamed judges can make last-minute injunctions to prevent us taking forward policies such as this, or indeed the earlier Rwanda flight that Priti Patel attempted. And I hope that they will see that we're trying to tackle a serious challenge which is affecting all our European neighbours, in fact, many countries even more profoundly than us, and will help us to ensure that we get a grip on this, because the people who are really suffering, other than the British public who feel that our system is being overwhelmed, are actually the migrants who are being exploited by the worst people in society, risking their lives, spending their life savings, and perpetuating criminal networks which are transnational and are involved in all manner of other terrible things beyond people smuggling, from drugs, crime, extremism and terrorism.
Upon arrival in this country, then, these individuals, where will they be housed? Because my understanding is that we have 7 centres currently that are full or virtually full. We have 150,000 roughly backlog of cases that need to be considered. Where are we going to put these folk?
Well, the first point is that this isn't a system that's designed to lead to a backlog in cases. This is a system that's firstly designed to deter people from making the trip in the first place. If we succeed, as, say, Australia did in tackling this issue, then within weeks or months you'll see a very significant reduction in the number of people making the journey in the first place. Right. Secondly, when they do arrive here, the system that we're establishing is one which is fast. And so people's claims will be processed very quickly. There'll be very limited grounds to appeal. In fact, only one ground to appeal here. Any other appeals will be heard either in Rwanda or back home in their own country if it's a safe place to be returned to. And thirdly, we do have some capacity in which to detain people. We've got immigration removal centres which have capacity.
But they're full, aren't they?
And we're in the process.
Sorry to talk over you. They are full, I understand. Are we going to build new? Let's look at this.
We are.
Right.
Well,
how many are we building, Minister?
Well, firstly, they're not full. We have capacity today. And secondly, we are building more. We are already building 2, one in Oxford and one in Gosport in Hampshire, and we're setting out to create further capacity. But when we succeed with this policy, we will have deterred people from making the crossing in the first place. So we won't need capacity for thousands of people to be waiting here in the UK. They'll be removed either to their home country or to a safe third country like Rwanda within days or weeks, not months and years.
Last couple of questions. You mentioned a safe third country such as Rwanda. Am I right in thinking the conversations are ongoing with other potential third other countries? And if so, can you tell me who they are?
Those conversations are ongoing. It wouldn't be right, I'm sorry to say, which countries they are, because we have to respect their confidentiality whilst we discuss and negotiate with them. Give me a continent, if you would, Minister.
You can give me a continent, I'm sure. Are we talking Africa?
You're tempting me, but I can't say that. But what I can say
would I be wrong in saying Africa?
there are other countries who are interested in doing this, both with us and I should say also with other European countries, because what we have set out to achieve here is something that a number of our European neighbours are considering following, because everyone sees that in a global migration crisis, you have to take robust steps like this to secure your borders. And so it would not surprise me if other European countries follow where we have led.
Africa? Is it Africa?
You're tempting me to say that. I can't.
Okay, lastly,
but I would say, but it is important to remember that with respect to Rwanda, the High Court analysed in some detail whether Rwanda is a safe country to remove people to, and said yes, it absolutely is. So they've upheld the policy. It's a good policy and one that we hope to operationalise soon.
Final question. I've no idea if you're a football man. You'll know where I'm going with this question. But for the comments made by Gary Lineker likening the actions of your government and the language to Germans in the 1930s, should he be shown a red card, a yellow card? What action should the BBC take with Mr. Lineker?
Well, he should certainly be shown a red card. I think it was very inappropriate. What we're doing is taking robust but fair measures on behalf of the British public. Gary Lineker is paid for by the British public, British taxpayers through the licence fee, and it's a shame that he's so out of step with British public opinion right now.
Enjoyed our time today. Thank you. Immigration Minister Robert Jenrick appearing here on LBC. We're at 1 minute after 8. Let's get the latest news headlines.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom, the government